In this video, we're going to talk about how to build trust in relationships. Trust can be a controversial issue, and it's one that I hope in this video we're approaching with some thought and some reflection. So let's get into the details. Hello there and welcome back, friends. If this is the first time that you're tuning in to Communication Coach, this channel is here to help people that are probably, like you, rising leaders, emerging leaders in professional settings. And all the videos here are to help you improve your leadership skills so that you can help bring out the best in the people around you. And today we're talking about how to build trust in relationships. Trust is really important. When you have good, positive, trusting relationships, it makes everything else easier. So it's really important to take this concept seriously. Now I want to get a few qualifications out of the way right away. The first one is that nobody owes you trust. They don't, in the first place, when they meet you, you should not assume that they need to trust you in some way because they owe it to you. That's just not the way trust works. Trust is earned over time and with patience and with effort. It's not automatic. And for that reason, I also want to say, and just get this right out of the way, you're not going to learn any tricks in this video. I don't believe that trust is something that you should try to quickly get people to do for you, because to me there's a warning sign there. In fact, I don't recommend ever saying things like, you have to trust me, or what's the matter, why don't you trust me, or you got to believe me, what's the problem here? Sometimes it'll come out authentically and I get it, but you should not use those as a way to get people to trust you, because to me it sounds like manipulation. It sounds like a way to control the situation and use guilt to get what you want. And that's just not the kind of leadership or even personal development kind of advice that I would ever give to anybody. So having said all those things, let's get into the actual advice that I would like to give. The first is that you have to have good character. In other words, if you want people to trust you, you have to be trustworthy. So good character means that you are an honest person, you tell the truth, you're looking out for other people's interests, not just your own. The famous coach John Wooden said, "The truest test of a man's character is what he does when no one is watching." So you are who you are when no one is watching. That's a paraphrase of that sentiment. Do you try to get away with little things when no one's watching? Do you gossip a little bit here and there when you think you can get away with it? Do you stretch the truth a little bit? In fact, I want to do a gut check here in terms of your character. 2 tests for me personally that I do on myself. 2 gut check tests. Do I have good character in this situation? And the first one is, do I exaggerate to try to get what I want? Do I make something seem a little bit better or even a little bit worse, depending upon what I'm looking for, to get what I want? Do I exaggerate? And another gut check for me, and I'd like you to do these gut checks for yourself, is do I take responsibility for the little errors and mistakes that I make? I think that's another good indication. If something little goes wrong, do I accept responsibility that I was the one who caused that and then I try to fix it the best I can? Or do I try to smooth it over and make it seem like it wasn't my fault, point the finger, blame? If we can't be responsible with the small things, then why should we expect people to trust us, especially trust us with the big things? So character, having good, trustworthy character is the number one principle on the road to building trust in relationships. Number 2, consistency. People like it when they can predict other people's behavior to some degree. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, you're so predictable, you always take me to the same restaurant every week. I'm not talking about that kind of predictability. In other words, are you consistent in that you say you're going to do something and then you follow through? Are you a reliable person so that you show up on time when people need you there? How is your consistency? There's a really big issue, because as you develop consistency as a habit, other people will learn that they can count on you. So let's do a little gut check on this. Do you show up on time when you say you're going to be there? Do you make your deadlines when you commit to a deadline? I think showing up on time and deadlines are a huge indicator of your broader ability to show consistency. Those are really 2 important ways to gut check it. So principle number 3, authenticity. Are you relatively open about who you are in the workplace, let's say, with other people? I know I'm not saying, by the way, that you have to tell people everything about you and all your dirty secrets. In fact, I don't recommend that, because you have to get to know other people around you as well. You don't want to get too personal too quickly. But do they get a sense for who you are and what you're all about? Because if we're only in a role, if we're only playing a professional role, for example, then people don't feel like they know us. And if they don't feel like they know us, they're not going to really trust us. Over time, people want to get to know a well-rounded version of who we are, and that requires a bit of transparency. Another way to be open is the issue of transparency is that when you're in an interaction, in a meeting, talking to people, for example, are you being open about what you're trying to accomplish, or do you have a lot of weird hidden agendas that are simultaneously functioning? Like, are you playing lots of politics to play some strategy game in the room when you're talking? If you do, people will begin to sense that you've got a few goals in mind that maybe you're not being open with, and there's a hidden agenda. And you want to be open and transparent about that. So on 2 counts, you want to be open and transparent as a person, relatively speaking, and you certainly want to be open and transparent about what you're trying to accomplish in the moment. So that's tip number 3. Moving on to tip number 4, be a giver, not a taker. So when you go into a situation, is your first tendency to think about how you can add value to the people that you're interacting with? Or is your first tendency to try to get something from them? That's a little gut check. When I walk into a situation, ask yourself this question: do I look to give something and be a blessing to those people? Or am I looking for what I can get out of the situation? I know somebody, for example, and you probably know people like this too, that every time they talk to me, I can tell they're trying to get something from me. They want something and they're looking for a way to get me to commit to something that benefits them. I don't think I've ever been in a situation that I can remember with this person who has looked for a way to help me and give me something, so to speak. Now, I'm not talking about material objects, but even in the friendship and what they're giving to the interaction. Are they trying to get something from you, or are they trying to give something from you? You want to make sure you're a giver, not a taker. And if you follow these 4 principles, or 4 tips, if you will, you will begin to develop trust in your relationships. And on that subject, I would like to ask you, which of these 4 principles resonates with you the most? Which one do you think helps you move forward in your thinking and how you're relating to other people the most? I would love to hear your comments in that section below the video. And while we're on this topic of building relationships, I would like to invite you to download a free PDF resource that I have created. It covers the 5 essential professional development skills that I believe that all professionals should be putting into practice. They focus almost entirely on communication, and that's completely free. I will put that in the description below the video, and I'll also pin it in the first comments in the comment section below the video. So as you're making your own comments below there, notice that there's that free resource that you can download, and you enter your email, and then I email you that resource. So thanks for tuning in. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.